crowd today, but this is being recorded just for the purposes of many who may not be able to attend at this early morning. So the biggest question is why 7:45? For the most part, it's done because we want to accommodate the business, the property owners of the Downtown Brockton Association. And we're gonna probably after this meeting, we'll probably do a poll for the meeting's future going forward. Some of you, just right out the bat, I think when you saw the notice, where have we been and what have we been up to? We are still alive and we've been working along the way. Quite frankly, we are a group of dedicated, passionate volunteers, or in some cases, they're voluntold if you're on my staff. But for all the same reasons, we care about downtown, we care about its vitality and its future. And, I think that's one of the things that I would just like to acknowledge some who are on and some who are not. First and foremost, I'd like to acknowledge Megan Fournier. She is the Communications Director here at Old Colony Planning Council. But many of the things working hand in hand with Amanda Glennon. And speaking of Amanda with the big heart, Amanda Glennon is DeRoche. Glennon DeRoche is also our other creative mind. If you see anything on the social media, that really is Amanda, and she helps with getting word out, whether it's a public service announcement or not. The other person is Paul Umano. Paul Umano, also on Old Colony Planning Council staff. It was critical, and I want to underscore critical to the work of grant writing and so many of the things that we were able to get. So thank you to Paul. He actually, when the beginning, we were having some difficulties. We were doing some of the block and tackling of getting our annual reports filed. It was Paul. Working with, again, Amanda and others. So with that said, good morning, Lori. And then there's Hugo D'Amato, who is with Harbor One, now Eastern Bank. He serves as our treasurer. And I will tell you that if there's anyone who's been flexible with, hey, I need a check within 10 minutes, Hugo and his staff were there. Missing right now, I don't think Shalia Gilbert from Black-owned Brockton. Shalia is an integral part. We worked a lot with her in many of the activities over the past year. And then we also had Nelson Fernandez. And Nelson now is Deputy Chief of Staff to Mayor Rodriguez. So that is the mighty team. This could not, many of the things we did could not be done with this group working as a team. So just a shout out to everyone and thank you. It's hard to give yourself a clap. But I also want to introduce John Fay. John's been hired as a consultant for us, DBA, to help us with getting this meeting started off, just to inform everyone. So with that, we introduce some of the folks here also internally. Just introduce yourself and the organization you're from, starting with Cindy. Oh, myself, okay.
Hi, everybody. I'm Cindy Pendergast with NeighborWorks Housing Solutions and Frederick Douglass Neighborhood Association and Brockton Housing Partnership. Thank you.
Laura?
I'm Laura Streets, the Executive Director of Charity Health. Main Street.
Thank you, Laura. I'm going to just go online for those that are there. Just please unmute yourself and tell me what organizations. And once we're done, I know that Chief Nardelli is on to do a public service announcement. So let me first start with Lisa.
Hi, how are you? Good morning, everyone. I'm with Health and Home Care Training. I'm filling in for Paul Potentis this morning. He was unable to make it.
Thank you, Lisa. Appreciate you being here. Jason Hunter.
Good morning, everyone. Jason Hunter from Mass Hire, directly across from OCPC, or diagonally across.
Thank you, Jason. Rachel.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Rachel Cherry Adams, and I'm from the Mass Hire Greater Brockton Workforce Board at 34 School Street. Good morning.
Great, thank you. And just while they're on, I just want to acknowledge, they own their building. They are property owners. It's not just sort of the tenants of the building. So thank you. Amity,
Good morning, everyone. I'm Anna D. I'm the Chief Operating Officer at Old Colony Elder Services. We actually also own the building.
yes, you do. Thank you. And the parking lot too, Anna. The Amanda Glennon, I know I've already introduced you, but why don't you introduce yourself, please?
Sure. Sorry, I'm off camera. I'm not camera ready this morning. I'm Amanda Glennon. I'm the Director of Homeownership at NeighborWorks Housing Solutions in downtown Brockton and also part of the Downtown Brockton Association and the Brockton Housing Partnership.
Thank you, Amanda. Jed,
Hi, good morning. Jed Horesco. I'm president of the trustees at the SoCo Lofts Condos, which is on corner Commercial and Center Street. I also run Brockton Bikes. I'm starting Brockton Walks, which are intentional downtown sort of cultural activities. So new to DBA, but know many of you through other venues.
thank you, Jed. Kyra, Hunter,
Good morning. Apologies, I'm not on screen. Also multitasking here. Kyra Hunter. I am the founder and principal consultant of Everrise Collective Group, which is a business operations consultant agency.
thank you, Kyra. And then I know we have Jackie Rose.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jackie Rose from the Buzz Around, and we publish to 9,000 people in Brockton. All good news about what's going on each week.
Thank you, Jackie, and thank you for sharing the news about the DBA as well. Before I go to Chief Nardelli, there is a 774 number. I don't know who that is.
Good morning. My name is Shannon Cartel. I am due to a call with the DBA. I've started a podcast. I'm a constituent of Brockton my entire life. Not from Brockton. I am Brockton, and I'm happy to be on this call with you this morning. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And Chief Nardelli, Brockton Fire Department, the chief and I saw each other last night at an event, and there have been some things, and we talked about having him come on before we even get into our meeting. Chief Nardelli, I know you might be driving, so if you don't mind unmuting yourself and take it away.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. I apologize. I probably should have my camera off because now I start looking at the screen, and not a good thing to do when you're driving, but I'll focus on the road. I appreciate Mary having me on this morning. I want to thank all of you for all the work you do every day. I saw Mary last night. She said she was having the meeting, and we were talking about hydrants and sidewalks and things of that nature. And I just want to thank everybody who's done diligent work in the downtown area to shovel out their respective hydrants, to shovel out any sidewalks that you can get to. I know at this point we've had some thawing and freezing, and it's probably a block of ice around a lot of them now. So what you did already is greatly appreciated. Mary and I started talking last night and about the city ordinances, and one of the interesting things is the city is broken up into. It has what's called the first fire district, which the first fire district is an area in the downtown that goes from approximately Charles Street, Warren Avenue, from between Warren Avenue, Montello, all the way south, down to around Allen Street and up in that area. And that's the first fire district. And there's actually an ordinance requiring snow removal of your respective buildings in and around that area. There's also a second, and maybe I should talk to the Campello business owners as well. There's also a second first fire district, which is in the Campello section, starts around Calmar, and then works its way all the way down to Market Street, and kind of covers that Warren Ave, Main, in Montello area. But I think just the importance of, when our people are out actually on calls, they'll grab a shovel real quick if they see a hydrant, try to get it cleaned out as best they can. I think we always upstaff in storms, mainly because everything moves so much slower in a storm and moves slower when there's heavy snowfalls, right? And because of that, sometimes we can't find hydrants. We had a fire on Owens Ave just last week, and two of the hydrants were completely buried. We do locate them on GPS, and they are usually updated pretty well. But I've gotten some requests from residents in different parts of the city that say, hey, that hydrant's gone and it hasn't been replaced. So sometimes that doesn't always get right into our GPS system. So I want to thank you for all you've done in the downtown area and trying to get snow cleaned around your hydrants, getting your sidewalks, and anything you can do. Obviously, if you have any questions from me, my email is bfnardelli@cobma.us. Don't hesitate to reach out. I'm pretty good about getting back to you because if it gets caught in that email stack, it gets lost sometimes. So I like to be able to get back as soon as I can. So Mary, I want to thank you for having me on, and I want to thank all of you for everything you do every day. Truly appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Chief. I know you're gonna turn your camera off now, so that just drive safely.
Thanks.
But what I will do is, we'll send out a notice to our membership and to the businesses, just to remind them of the ordinance. It's been kind of drilled into me. Old Colony Planning Council owns our side of the building, the chamber owns their side, but we are always cognizant about, we're also a pathway for people walking to the train stations. So if we're going to be building housing around train stations and walkability, we want to make sure those sidewalks and hydrants are sheltered. So, thank you, Chief, for putting in the, or maybe it was Megan, thank you. So.
Thank you.
Any questions about that? Again, I'll share the ordinance. Again, this is not putting, it's more for safety of your building and safety of your resident. I mean, of your, not, well, you have residential. So back to the agenda. So again, you hear that we're here. I just want to acknowledge that we have Senator Mike Brady who's joined us today. And it does lead into, and what we've been into since the last meeting. I want to again publicly thank the senator and his office. He has assisted the DBA with some earmarks. One particular, earmark for 50,000. What did we do with it? Well, we spent $21,000 in hiring Clean City crew to clean for 2 months, 3 months around downtown Brockton. Mind you, there have been days, particularly during the summertime, when once it gets clean, whether it stays clean after a few days, but that's a different system, systemic issue, right? But the fact that there is a cleaning crew that comes out. I was recently in Dublin, Ireland, and they had cleaning crews. If you could just let that person in. I was just in Dublin, Ireland. We had cleaning crews 5 times a day in the center of town. Again, it's resources, it costs money, but we can get later on to about that. So with that, I just want to acknowledge Senator Brady. Just the other grants, maybe if, Paul, do you want to run down some of the grants for, why don't you go ahead?
Sure. So one of the big ones that we received recently was an urban agenda grant in the most, second most recent cycle. I know we're now almost 2 cycles away from that. So it was a $100,000 grant. And we essentially received 50% of that up front, and then the rest of it was reimbursable. So in total, we ended up spending $66,928 on that particular grant. We've received a couple of earmarks, thanks to Senator Brady and his office, as well as the rest of the state delegation. One was relative to beautification, and also the second one that we're going to be receiving is relative to beautification as well.
And on both of those, we work with the Brockton Garden Club. Again, right, local supporting local. That's what's really important to us. And again, with the Brockton Garden Club, but also Frederick Douglass Association, where we provided funding. And our continual work is really to make sure that we support the needs. A couple, we'll go into it a little bit about the SWOT analysis, but it was really determined what is important to not only residents and employees, but the property owners, and clean and safe. Yeah, clean and safe, clean and safe. There are other things, but clean and safe. What are the positive things? But it's about us being a diversified community and working together. But one of the other grants that we received is thank you very much, Amanda, for putting that in there for information. All that information is on the website. But one of the other, we applied for a Brockton Cultural Grant. We applied for 50,000 and received only 4,000. But we're going to take that 4,000 and we're gonna make it sing. It's to amplify and we have 2 historic people, Thomas Edison, and we're in the historic building right now, and Frederick Douglass, and doing a documentary. They're working with a local business, Anawan Studios, to produce that documentary. Separate, together, but to celebrate. You know, Naples, Florida has a Thomas Edison Day. You know, there should also be, and I know with the work of the Frederick Douglass Association, a lot of celebration and information, quite frankly. Awareness. We've also worked with Black Oak Brockton on some arts, and there was paintings, chalk paintings in front of Brockton Beer on the sidewalk. Innovative, maybe, but I mean, Boston and other communities are doing new things, so we're looking for ways to inspire. And I see that Jackie is, Joseph is on as well from, Jackie, maybe if you just want to introduce yourself or give yourself just.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jackie Ann Joseph. I'm the founder and executive director for the Arts Foundation, which is a nonprofit dedicated to students that are artistically inclined in middle school and high school.
Thank you, Jackie. So again, right, we have a diverse group of folks, Charity Guild, Laura, you know, in terms of the work, we have some food for you again. I encourage every property owner, every business, every resident, collect and donate. You can always drop things off here and we can coordinate with the Charity Guild, but it's really important that we do that.
Here, can I just thank everyone for the amazing response to when the government shut down in November. One of the first calls that we got was from Mary, and she said, "What can we get you? What do you need?" And Downtown Business Association, I spoke with Amanda, and you created what we call like a wall of ramen for us to pick up outside of here, and it was unbelievable. And so that sense of community is certainly alive and well, and it really means a lot when people call and ask us what we need. So I just wanted to thank everyone for that. That was really wonderful.
The Charity Guild and many others, but Charity Guild, you do God's work. And I know the challenges. Well, I don't personally, right? We're all privileged sitting here in a warm building.
Yeah.
What I think is really important is that we lift and we support, you've been a strong member of the DBA. So it goes back to a little bit, thank you, Laura. It goes back to, we're a community here, small within the DBA, but then big within the whole city. And if we take little bit by little bit, I also, I'm just walking in, sorry, to call you out, but Eliza Wilson, who is the chair of the Brockton Redevelopment Authority, has joined us, and we're looking forward to collaborating with the BRA. I'm gonna ask any of the other, I know I'm missing something, Amanda, what else is I missing in terms of grants?
I'll,
Go ahead,
so and one of the things that I think, with the grants that we got, I can't remember which one it was specifically for, whether it was for the urban agenda grant, but, I think it's important, you know, what we did that is gonna continue, that we really haven't had a chance to promote, which is now kind of what we're gonna do, is we realized that some of the things that we had put in towards a grant, like we just didn't have the capacity to do, so we switched gears. And we purchased a bunch of materials that businesses can rent. So if, you know, you need to do some sort of, you know, you want to do an event, and you need some sandwich boards, I think we bought 10 sandwich boards, that you can rent for us. We bought a printer. So if you have printing needs, or you don't have your own printer, or breaks and you need to print things out, that's something that we have to keep building. We bought 2 generators. We know that oftentimes, like if you're doing anything outside, or God forbid something happens with your business too, like we have that available for you to rent. Some of it, I believe we agreed that by being a member, you would be able to, you know, get, and then, John, I sent over the link. We put it into, it's gonna be put onto our website after being kind of fully vetted out, but with that, it kind of lays out the different processes. But again, by being a DBA member, you'll get discounts and some complimentary access to those materials. But we thought that it was just really important to have access, because we know that, you know, one company, you know, sometimes it's not worth the investment in purchasing a generator or purchasing a bunch of sandwich boards. You're like, I'm gonna use it once and that's the only time I'm gonna need it. And we knew that that's something that also will help provide, you know, even if you are, you're doing a sale outside of your business and you just want to provide some extra, for a week, you know, visuals and just putting it out there so that people, when they're walking by, you have it, you know, accessible to you. And, oh, I think we got, a laminator too.
We could,
It's been a bit, as Mary mentioned, we're all volunteers, so between, you know, our actual jobs and stuff, we'll be in the mode and we'll get a whole bunch of things done and we know what we're aiming to do. And then we all get busy with the holidays, our own jobs, our own lives, but we knew that it was an additional thing that we really felt is important for businesses. You know, and again, the link that Amanda sent really kind of identifies some of the things that we were doing with the $100,000 grant that we received, which, you know, Nelson did it was like a 4 or 5 week seminar to assist those who are interested in opening up their own restaurants.
That was done in collaboration with Massasoit, at their downtown.
Yes,
center.
exactly, yeah, with Massasoit, so he hosted it there.
In Blackwood, Brockton with the farmer's market.
Correct, so instead of it just being the farmer's market, Blackwood, Brockton has their different owners were able to go down and you know, artisans and whatnot, so it was more than just food that you could access, it was also a bunch of other opportunities, which was expanding everything that's going on within Brockton, which was really a great way of diversifying everything that, you know, Brockton is, so.
Thanks, May. So that's what we've been doing. It sounds like, I mean, there are probably about 18 other things that we can be thinking about, but any questions about the items, or did I leave anything else out, Amanda, or anybody else? Paul?
I recall, I think when I first joined, we got an original $50,000 earmark, which was with the Queen City Brew.
Correct.
Yeah.
It obviously, and thank you, Paul. So we've stopped counting, but we probably should elevate because it's not on taxpayers.gov. It is because it's an earmark, but we're pursuing funding that may become available, and we'll continue to do that as best as we can, but we look forward to having collaboration with everyone.
I just want to say too, I mean, again, part of the reason why we haven't been meeting is because we felt like it's great to have all these opportunities to collaborate with one another and talk, but we already knew that with everyone else's schedules, we've received these grants and we wanted to really be able to capitalize on those opportunities, which is, so again, we felt there was more value in providing these opportunities and going after these grants and these earmarks, and making them, you know, useful and valuable than necessarily sitting. So that's part of the reason why we weren't trying to go MIA. It was more of just focusing our time on what we really think was going to make a difference as, you know, being with the DBA and making it valuable to everyone, not even just, you know, members, because we know it's difficult, but just anyone, because the whole point of the DBA is to build up the downtown. And so that's really just wanted to capitalize that. Again, we weren't not meeting because we weren't interested. It was the complete opposite. And it was really just trying to make a difference. So
thanks, Megan. I think that leads us really right into the priorities and organization objectives and goals. Do we have that on the website?
Yeah.
So while that's being pulled up, we did a SWOT analysis. So if you don't know what a SWOT analysis is, it's strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And the first time we call it the survey, there was probably about 100 people that responded. The second time we did the survey, we received over 200 responses. Residents, business owners, property owners, visitors, it didn't make a difference. Not too unsimilar in terms of the results, other than it continued to talk about the strengths. People love the diversity of downtown, but we also see some of the challenges and some of the things that related to, again, clean and safe. Budgets are budgets, whether it's city budgets, your own budget. Within our own building here, we probably spent close to 15 grand to secure our building with security cameras and lights and gates and things of that nature, just to keep our, thank you very much, John, just to keep our 26 employees safe. And again, many of you have similar. What John pulled up, again, I won't necessarily go over them, but I believe on our website, we have priorities. Sorry, I know we're doing.
No, John, go back to the
Give
one.
us just 1 minute.
Sorry.
It is shared in the
There it
link,
is,
but
yeah.
yeah.
Go.
Sorry about that.
There we go. I can't read it because I'm too far away, but, thank you very much. So you talk about the history, the walkability, the commute, the businesses that are here, access to commuter rail, people who care in kind, the community youth programs, been building renovations. There's been a lot, going on, farmers market, city hall. Those are the strengths. Thanks, John. If we go on to the weaknesses, homelessness, mental health, lack of green space, road closures. We've experienced quite a bit of traffic issues in the downtown recently, water main breaks, but I think communications I would put in there as a challenge. No, let's see, Provung on. So again, these are all on the website. I may have to just move down to, let's go to threats. We'll end on a positive with opportunities. So threats with, again, the unhoused and homelessness issue, crime, violence. I think people just not taking care of their space and their cleanliness, businesses closing, leaving, broken promises. And then the opportunities. I think this part's going to be really important for all of us as we go forward in 2026. I'm going to start off because we're going to talk about it next, but the business improvement district, but beautification, public bathrooms, address real racial tension, history of the people and, Frederick Douglass, but also Thomas Edison. And that's just the tip of the iceberg of the history. Potential to thrive in the area is cleaned up in Perkins Park. Again, youth activities. Take a look at these if you haven't. I will reshare that again in a newsletter out to everybody. But it's going to be really important that, as we move forward, that, we continue on addressing these. Again, these priorities, when did we do this last one?
This was 20. It was like 2021, well, yeah, it must have been 2023, even though, yeah, 2021 was the first one that was done.
Right.
And then 2023.
So it's 2023, it's time, right? It's time for us to kind of really address this. We'll present this again to the mayor, the city council members, Councilor Thompson and Councilor Tavares are both the ward councilors for this. We have Senator Brady. This was really important to have you here. It really is. I mean, it's multiple levels. It's not multiple votes. Please, go ahead.
If I may ask, so I know you can't live in the past. Years ago, because I've heard over the past couple of years about the people going with the feces all over the businesses here outside, etc. We used to have public bathrooms at City Hall. And when they renovated, I'm talking about outdoor City Hall, not inside. When they renovated City Hall, there was problems because it was under the ground, there was situations, people doing drugs under the ground, whatever. But obviously there's nowhere for people to go. And then the city was locked up like Fort Knox the past couple of years. So even the people that are having situations, they couldn't even go into the City Hall to use the bathroom. I'm not saying they were used in a practical manner because they weren't being cleaned properly. There were all sorts of issues there. But have you guys heard of anything that they're trying to get public facilities?
We haven't, and I know that there's Jasmine Bratcher from the mayor's office still continues to hold, there's a homelessness task force that exists. There's also the community court out of the district attorney's office. Both of those I try to attend. Most of them are during the day. The DBA, by the way, pays for pizza for the community court for those who attend. It is our give to knowing that trying to do our part and working as a team. So I would take the bathroom piece back, Senator, to a larger group. Or when you meet with the mayor to address it with the mayor.
And one thing, just to let everyone know, and I appreciate all the work everyone's been doing, and It's been difficult with the federal cutbacks. I know all the work that Cherryville does, they get hit big time with federal cutbacks. We got a little bit in the budget. Just to let everyone know, the governor has presented her budget. It's gonna go to the House of Representatives, or to the Senate. If there's anything that I can be helpful with to file things to the budget, please let me know.
We
I
will.
know, yeah, and I know that, like, you know, it's unfortunate that the business of virus left, but they're renovating that building. I don't know what the upgrade, the status of that is.
They're continuing.
And then even with the other building next to Joanne's, where Masters Freight is, in the unemployment office, I haven't had any communications. Are they fully operated or anything like that there? And hopefully with the new mayor and the new administration, we're gonna be meeting at a more regular basis. We had a meeting scheduled for today, got canceled, unfortunately. But I did meet with the mayor before he got sworn in, and with the state delegation to kind of get up to date with stuff going on across the city. You know, schools, etc. I've noticed since we've had this big snow piled up that we have less homeless, or if any, that I haven't seen under the bridges since the snow was there. But that doesn't mean once the snow melts, if it goes back. Perkins Park that was mentioned on the park that was finished back on Teller Street. And again, I haven't heard anything what the city's plans are, as well as the old fire station on Pleasant Street, which there's a lot of debate. I know the mayor talked about trying to maybe move the historic museum from Grove Street down to downtown and vice versa, because they're talking about maybe building a new fire station up on the northwest corridor of Brockton. I don't think the people who run the historic building want to change and move at all. But they talked about maybe utilizing some land near that, but that's owned by Melrose Cemetery. So again, that's just in the discussion stages. We do need a new fire station up that part of town, but again, I don't know where the money's gonna come from, et cetera.
So Senator, if I could,
Yeah.
can we go through our priorities and then maybe if we can follow back up, because I know that you have a lot of, you've talked to a lot of people as well, and these items that you're mentioning are, you know, important. But if we can go through our priorities and then take these, and then how do we work with you on some of the other things that you're hearing? So supporting the downtown, you know, promoting the bid, the business improvement district. I think I'm just gonna take that number, item 3, and talk about it now. So, this has been an effort probably about 2.5 years already now. Going door to door, business improvement district. Let me explain to you. It is a district. We have a page on our website about this, but it's an area that's defined. And in fact, it's self-assessed. There are communities like Boston has like 5 business improvement districts, Somerville, Worcester, Springfield, Hyannis, Taunton, thank you very much. So on our website, we have all the information about what a business improvement district does. We had some momentum, and then last year it kind of faltered, and we'll just leave it at that. It was, but we want to pick it back up. I will say that Amanda was able to help us with working with the other business associations, and we asked questions of the candidates who were running for different offices, and all but one supports business improvement district. I think it is the answer for us, because obviously with struggling budgets, city budgets, business budgets, if we have, so if we're paying, let me say, the Old County Planning Council is paying $2,000 a month to clean around their building, and so is the building across the street. Wouldn't it make sense if we pool our money together or our resources to then have it be cleaned up together? In some ways, that's what a business improvement district is. It's a little bit more detailed. The process is you need to get 60% of the property owners within the defined area. The city, Brockton Redevelopment Authority, own a lot of the property. So did the Brockton Housing Authority. But the Brockton Housing Authority signed up. We're a nonprofit or government, but we signed up that we're willing to pay. And there's a process. We're gonna pick that up for 2026. I think there's a lot of value to the downtown. And if it works here, I'm gonna recommend that it goes to Campello and Montello as well. But I think this is the prime area that seems to be, again, a topic of discussion. So that's business improvement district. So we'll go back to the priorities if we could. Sorry, John. There we go.
See who's on the call.
Oh, is there a call?
Just, I was wondering.
Well, when he's not sharing, you can see everybody.
So promote the bid, the commitment to cleaning downtown. We've already made a big effort. Anything that we're looking for earmarks, it's beautifying, and cleaning downtown. Beautifying, again, with the Brockton Garden Club, we provided them funding and they've been, Claire particularly has been, really active in making sure that the plants within those, containers are changed. The challenge is if we have people going in and stealing them. What I would like to do, and we're gonna need, this will require some conversations with the mayor and the city council, is take the flower bins and put them up on the streetlights like they do in Boston. We actually are storing the garden club's watering can that goes up, that can water up. And we don't charge anybody for the storage. We don't charge the DBA for the storage, but it's back there. But we'd like to do that, put them in baskets. It needs to be beautified. Some of the things in terms of the small little flags that are on those poles. So again, we don't own them, but the city does. We certainly, the DBA would like to work with the city on that. Growing a network. This is the first of it, right? It really means attending meetings, telling people about it. But it also means becoming a member. We need memberships. It's, some of the funds that we receive through, whether an earmark or whether it's through reimbursement of a grant, those memberships, it's minimum. It's $50 for a small or $100 for a business. That's nothing. It really is. Old Colony Planning Council and also Neighbor Works have been a strong in-kind donator of staff time and their resources. But we're in it because we believe in it. We certainly would love to have others be part of it. So we, as our volunteers, we probably were not very good last year about following up with people, but we're starting anew. So there'll be a new membership. If you haven't, we're gonna be asking. And if you gave last year, we're gonna have, it's a yearly membership fee. So I asked everyone, including government people, Senator, actually, you get a pass, you got us an earmark. But certainly it will be really important and we'll be sending out that membership if you haven't already. And we've also become not just check, you can not just only write a check, you can donate online through PayPal and or through Venmo, right, Megan? Okay, I'm pretty sure.
Yes.
In fact, I'm very sure.
If you, John, can you click on become a member? That's my PayPal.
Oh, here's that thing.
Online.
Yep, pay. And then,
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yep. Thank you, Megan. So again, we try to make it simple. We need the voice, people talking to each other, not just among, one-offs. Because if any of you who are experiencing issues, I will tell you, there's 10 more people who experience the same thing. And what happens is they do tell me and I'll see them and then, I will open my mouth and try to say something. So growing the network, what else was there? Is that it?
That was the last.
That was the last one, yeah.
So priorities, we talked about business improvement district, but we also want to hear from you about your priorities. I shout out to anyone, maybe if I can ask, maybe I'll just ask Jason or Rachel. Let's start with you. I know we had conversations over this weekend. There were, I'll just leave it as that there were some, many of you who have properties who have the backspace. That is where some of the unhoused are finding places for safe. So I don't know if Jason or Rachel would like to just talk about any of the needs. Thank you, Jason.
Yeah, we've had a lot of trouble for those of everyone on the call. We own, I think I mentioned, directly across from City Hall. We've tried to take a number of steps with lighting and fixing doors and everything, but we've had a constant rotation of the unhoused kind of hanging out in the back. That street just is kind of sheltered from all the main streets. So I did talk to Mary over the weekend. Sorry to hear about that situation, Mary. Our shed in the back, we've tried several times in several ways to have it secured, but it hasn't worked. So we have a few individuals that have either been sleeping there or have kept a residency there in trying to do some work with Jeff Smith in the community court. I know he's had the police do some rounds and speak to some of the individuals, but nothing seems to work, and it's just been a long time with no solution, and we're at an impasse as to what to do.
Jason,
And I
I
know,
think you raise a good question that might be on a number of people's minds, and that is, who do you call, right? And I think, on some of the homelessness, task force meetings that I've been participating in, you have needles, there's a place to call. Thank you very much, Amanda, for sharing that. The updated, Father Bill's shelter, only has an emergency. I think that's an important piece. But if there are, I know that the fire chief said, if they're starting fires, that is a great concern to him. Buildings and what have you. So I think what kind of came to my mind, Jason, was that we need to, we, the DBA, will put together, like, if you find yourself in this situation, who do you call? And I will put that out to the folks and maybe work with you, Jason, because I know, as you said, Jeff Smith from the district attorney's office. The police department is always 911. If you think there is any issues at all, calling 911 is an appropriate way. It may seem, because part of me was, well, I don't want to call 911 because they've got other things that they're doing. But the reality is, it needs to be recorded, it needs to be documented. And it's a hard thing. I know we've chatted about this because you understand the plight that they may be in. But at the same time, if it's continual, they need, I don't know what they need, right? That's for the professionals to determine. So Amanda, thank you. Goes, if you could see someone outside in the colder and inclement weather, you should call 911 and it could save a life. That is an amazing comment, Amanda, and appreciate the, the advice. It really is important. Again, we're sitting here very privileged and warm building, with coats and gloves and food and what have you. And for anyone who's been in the downtown, this is not a new situation. I will say, I've been pretty much my whole life in the downtown area. It just seems to have been escalated to a level, but also homelessness, has increased 30%. I think those were the numbers that I've heard over the last couple of years. So, again, that's why Charity Guild is sitting at the table, Father Bill's is at the table, the city of Brockton is at the table, Neighbor Works is at the table, Housing Authority is at the table. If we then can share advice and share it with all of you, we will definitely do that. So thank you, Jason.
Yeah,
any other Go ahead.
I will say, Mary, sorry to interrupt. Jeff and his team over at the DA's, it's new. I know he's going out and the work that Father Bill's and their team is doing as well, trying to provide awareness. I think it is working in small doses, and hopefully they can continue that and it's a sustainable thing and that they can start to offer this. I mean, reach out to these folks and try to get them services. Just as a small business, it's really taxing, and I know that most people, and especially you, Mary, know this. It's extremely taxing to be, to have to come in and either clean up or call Alex for the umpteenth time, for shoveling, for calling, picking up the needles. You had sent something a while back with the resources, the needle pickup, whether it's BAMSI or the police or the fire. Those are all great. We need to figure something out. And I know that there's no easy solution. It's very difficult to run a small business and public facing. We saw almost 9,000 people last year. And I know I'm beating a dead horse or the same drum, but would love to be involved in something, whether it's the bid or anything else, to get more resources, something. It's a,
Jason, I think your comments are pretty spot on, and I think you reflect a number of things that I have heard, but thank you for being honest with your sentiments. Eliza?
Yeah, hi, my name's Eliza. Nice to hear from you, Jason. And congratulations on having a business in Brockton. We need to increase the economic development of our downtown. And that's not gonna happen without, some investment in infrastructure. So as we're all sitting here together, talking about how we work together, I'd like to propose we look at really asking for whether it's an earmark or come together to apply to mass development under the IQ initiative. Just for context, that's how Somerville was able to fund the beginning of Assembly Square redevelopment. It's a unique public-private partnership. It's a financial tool where the municipality or the redevelopment authority asks the state on behalf of private development for some infrastructure money. And to make Brockton a place where we want to be and where we want to have electric cars and we want to do all those things, our roads need to be strong enough to do that. Just for example, electric cars are twice the weight of the cars we currently drive with gasoline. And so we're trying to scale up, but we have to pay attention to the infrastructure, which also would address this blight and these properties where maybe, and I know for us at 1115 Frederick Douglass, we're really focused on being able to get to work on that building, move beyond the mindset of writing a grant to fix a leaky roof in a building that nobody's in. And so I'm just so grateful to you, Mary, for putting this group together. And, Senator Brady, thank you for being here, but I think it's gonna be more than each organization writing a grant. It's going to be a huge targeted investment from the state that we need for our city.
Thank you, Eliza. I also want to just acknowledge Eliza, being the chair of the BRA. She is the person who's responsible for the movie coming to Brockton. Some of the traffic too, but the movie, but also many in the downtown area received either funding and or had residuals of rental space or things of that nature. So again, not missing the point I think you're talking about. It's something that the DBA has been talking about, is that we can't do it alone. We've never thought we could. It can't be just the city doing it, and it can't be just the DBA doing it, and it can't be individual businesses. So that's always been our important piece about how we work together. So we will take a look and maybe work together on the IQ piece of that.
The other piece,
go ahead.
Sorry, that I should mention to the group is I did serve as one of two economic advisors to Mayor Rodriguez during the transition team. And I did write up the recommended plan for implementation for economic development of our downtown. So Mayor Rodriguez is supportive.
Thank you. Thank you. And maybe at some point be able to see that plan, because we haven't seen it. I know the DBA hasn't seen the plan, but we can talk about that offline. Anybody else in terms of, we're talking about what you would like to see as priorities. So we heard, again, public safety, clean, again, I don't see if anybody else, walkability, I think, Jed, in terms of Brockton Bikes and Brockton Walk, those are certainly efforts about getting people come out of their buildings. But I just want to say we have about 10 minutes left of the meeting. I want to keep these to an hour and not take a whole lot of people's time because people have to get to work. But, just as a resident, and we will be looking, it was before you chat, because I know in the past, I've had some residents of different buildings that have asked, how do they join as a resident? I'm going to recommend that if there is a residents organization for each of them, is that organization pays a member rather than individual residents. And again, we're just volunteers, so it's kind of, we can talk a little bit about that offhand. So Jen, just quickly.
Some, yeah, there's a few specific things I think would be helpful. I think one is we need a detective or two detectives, but I'll keep it simple and say one detective that's solely signed solely to downtown issues. So therefore, that person can knows the individuals who are out there. I'm not saying that everyone who out there needs prosecution, not by any stretch, but I'm saying basically to take the folks that are downtown and causing problems and sort of split that into two groups. Smaller group which needs more of those sort of law enforcement attention, and obviously the rest needs the social services stuff. Because right now it's like we have fairly good security cameras here. We've helped Brockton Fire on an arson investigations twice. We've helped the state police on a hit and run. But never once has our footage been used by the Brockton police. And when we access the Brockton police, we get someone who's just not interested in downtown or can't work this particular case because they have other responsibilities, right? So I would suggest that's one thing we need to see. Another thing we need to see is the connecting of the dots, so to speak, meaning complaints coming to see, click, fix, or things that the city does downtown need to be completed. Right. So you have wires sticking out of the ground on Petronelli Way, right? That were live wires. Like that shouldn't have happened. Someone from the city DPW should have picked up on that was there. And that also goes for, I famously talked about a couple of years ago about See Click Fix I did about human feces at the bottom of the train station stairs and how that got kicked around on See Click Fix for 3 or 4 months. So I'm suggesting we're in a new administration. Now's a chance for some things to change. And I think there's probably more willingness to listen right now, so that this is sort of our opportunity to get some of those concrete things we need. And lastly, I would say my hopeful thing would be that we get some more flexibility on permitting and other things for downtown events, so that when people want to do creative things, that gets embraced and it gets seen as a way to bring people downtown as compared to a potential, liability, or as a way for the city, like the parking authority, to collect a few $100s. And to that end, we've also got a small Brockton Cultural Council grant to do 3 events downtown. So 3 Friday nights, we're partnering with Dr. Ellie Paris, and those are ways to basically have a little bit of free food, a little bit of culture, and try to bring people downtown. But again, we would like to make that a much larger event, but we're concerned about the permitting, getting access to that other space at the old bus station. So thank you.
Jed, Jed, thank you for your comments. I think those were pretty spot on. Let me go with the last one first. So have Dr. Ellie Paris and yourself become a member of the DBA, and the DBA's social media and promotion would be spot on. I'm not trying to knuckle you, but that's some of the things that we have the ability with the DBA and its reach, right? So that's awesome. Congratulations. I love that. On the police, and so this invite did go out to the police and to city councilors and a whole bunch of people. And maybe with a little bit of some short notice. But with that said, when I was here over the weekend, I happened to be with somebody and we looked outside and the person pointed out saying, "Oh, that's the drug dealer's car that is doing blah, blah, blah." And I'm like, what? And it was across the street at the gas station where it's known. I'm not a detective, nor do I want to be one. And I give the Brockton Police Department such appreciation for the work they do. But to the point you talked about, if it's known, I can't drive by, and to the point, right? So that's a conversation certainly with, the city councilors and the mayor and the chief of police. And so public safety, if it's a high priority, maybe one of these upcoming meetings, we do have that forum with the police department and, just a conversation. So again, thank you for bringing those items up. Sometimes it's hard to say what's on it because you don't want retribution or you don't want to be seen as anti-police or anti-Brockton. I get accused of that sometimes too often, but we're running out of time. So unless it's go ahead, Eliza.
Just a quick point of information on that. The mayor did make the decision to not have a police stationed at City Hall all the time, so that did free up someone to be in the
Beautiful.
downtown, so perhaps that is a good use of Frank's time.
I'm gonna applaud because I remember how, anyway, I'm getting down. Thank you, Eliza.
And
That's very
if I may, we did have, I know it's the winter time, but we did have 2 bike pots that go downtown, you go under the units in the pictures, because they can quietly come up on somebody feeling grudge with it. It's not, it's more inconspicuous, and they did a good job, but I don't know what's happening
Well,
now, so.
Units administration was 30-something years ago, by the way.
No, but.
I know,
But it's sad because it worked, it was 2 pots.
But that may be something this is improvement.
Revisit, right.
But, we're running a little bit out of time, but there's a couple of things that we're gonna be doing. So this is being recorded, it's gonna be shared widely. Looking for memberships, when we send this out, we're gonna be sending out a poll as well. So this time was picked, because I thought this would be a good time for businesses, because they could come and join before the day starts. We used to hold them during the day, but we're gonna send that poll out. And I need honest opinions. If we're not gonna make everybody happy, but we will always have a virtual aspect to these meetings. And I think that piece has been really important. We've had as many as 50 people be on a meeting in the past. But topics, I think, again, what are we doing? How is it going? Membership, but also once we have those funds, what are we doing with it? And the point is, we're making contributions to the Charity Guild. We're working with the Frederick Douglass. We're working on ways to reach out to be partners with anyone. But most importantly, we're really going to be moving forward on the business improvement district. To me, I'm an old girl now. I've been around for a long time. The business improvement district will do 2 things. It will help control what the end results, it will give you, all of you, not just me, but all property owners and businesses, a voice about the determination of what happens within your downtown. So if you're tired of things, if you want to see it done, then you can accumulate funds. And I'm telling you, we will give some links to some of the other business improvement districts across the state. So if you go into Boston and downtown Boston, you see all those beautiful creative arts things, it's because of business improvement district. We're not Boston with a high paid rent, rental fees, but we are Brockton and we're mighty. And I'm gonna take a page out of the Patriots, and we're the warriors, right? We're the warriors because you're not taking a dime from anything. You're here because you care. And I am passionate about this. And it's one thing I'm determined. I just thank all of you for being here and online, but I really want to say a special thanks to all members of the executive committee. They've only complained maybe once, because maybe once, but if there's any other shout outs about anything else, I see Tony Rodriguez, who is school committee, but also property owner in the downtown. So let's work together. And I do need, everybody's input as to, the vision of what we're gonna do. Senator, last.
I have some new people coming on board in my administration, so if they do send emails to me, we're way behind on emails, so most of the people here have my cell phone, but I'm gonna give some contact information to the DBA to reach out to me in case we don't respond to an email. I apologize. I've got 3 new staff members that are trying to get caught up in things, so.
Thank you, Senator. We'll make sure we share that information. I have this out in front of me and I was staring at everything else. Brockton Public Library, OMG, what they are members, but the things that they are doing are really incredible. So the last Wednesday, so the library is hosting a community dinner at the library, and they served over 100 dinners. They're going to continue to do it. It's the last Monday of every month. We'll make sure that we promote that. Thank you very much, Amanda. She put the.
Sorry, it's the last Wednesday of every month.
It is. That's what.
You said Wednesday.
Monday.
Oh, sorry, it is. Sorry, I'm reading right. We look forward to hosting this event again on the last Monday of every month. So it's on, the library has it on their website. This is their promotion. So Amanda put in the link to the library. So if you want to check out all their events, But, they're introducing the new poet laureate and young poet laureate on Saturday, the 7th. There too many events to be talked about, but incredible work. There's also volunteer opportunities, certainly with the charity meals and delivering funds. Our friends at the Brockton Fire Department, they're having a St. Patrick's Day Mass and celebration. And why I mention that is because the fire department is always volunteering. At the Charity Guild, they're always the first when there's something that we're looking to do in the downtown. So if there are other shout outs, please, 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 please. I encourage everyone, just to become a member. So any other last minute? If not, we are all good. Thank you, everybody, for being on. Stay safe and shovel those sidewalks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Have a great day.
All right, good. Catch the email a little bit.